Welcome to WKDW 97.5 FM, Real Community Radio. We're coming out of the city of Northport, Florida, here from the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower. And my show, I am Marie LaBrosse, and my show is Sleuthing Eye-Opening Tales of the Past. And I am doing a series with my guest, who is always my guest for this series, Miss Joan Morgan, Mrs. Joan Morgan, and it's on the history of the city of Northport. So if you're in this area and you don't know what the history is, as I lose Joan and she runs away from me, we are here and we're going to start in the year 2006. We have 8 shows before this. You can find us on our Facebook or YouTube page. KDWRadio.com is the Facebook page, and then WKDW 97.5 FM is the YouTube page. And the YouTubes are the more current ones because I'm able to stream now, and we're able to get this not only orally, audio, but visually. And Joan Morgan, thank you again for being here today with all your knowledge in your research, all the research that you've done, but you've also lived it. So let's get started, Joan, and let's catch people up to where we are now.
Okay. Of course, always I do a few things that are more current. Thank WKDW. Thank everyone who was involved with the 4th of July. Do we know how to do 4th of July around here? I always have to go back to Henry Jackamer, who started all the fireworks, the guru of fireworks. And thank you. I mean, people come from all over for our fireworks. And luckily, we got it in before the Elsa came by. And speaking of Elsa, this is just interesting because it's current and it deals with first responders that we're trying to help. There was a group of first responders that work out of a fire station in Port Charlotte, so very close to here, that were on a 10-day, 24-hour tour. And they just got done with that. And then Surfside happened, and they were called down to Surfside. They got back about 18 hours ago. And one of the men who was in this fire area, last night, a huge tree went down and creamed a big part of his driveway and vehicle. So God bless our first responders. We are involved in all of this stuff. And Northport, newspaper people came down here and TV people from Tampa today to Northport because we had 13 inches of rain and we had the most. Okay, over in the back part of, if you go on the north side of Biscayne, off Herbison, Cocosolo, all of those streets, that's a low area. And when we had the no-name storm, that area was not only flooded like it was today, but it didn't go in the houses today, but it went into the houses. So we made Tampa's news today. Also, because COVID is opening, letting people come back out again. Please get vaccinated. Please get vaccinated. Okay. But also the fact that people aren't giving blood as much as they should. There was a big, long thing about blood is needed. Platelets are needed. So please, because with the opening up of the hospitals and that also is opening up elective surgeries, and they need the blood. They can't take blood for elective surgeries when they might have a real disaster or a real emergency. So please, if you can, not everyone can give blood and platelets, but if you can, please do that. My other commercial today is for promoting the 1 penny tax so we can get a lot of things for Northport. These are a lot of positive, good things. And Sharon Matthews, part of the great Matthews family of Northport, is heading this drive for our area. So anyway, go Northport. And now we're back to 2006. And in 2006, okay, we're going to start right off with very early in 2006 because a major change happened in Northport. Sarasota County decided to take advantage of the boom. And what was happening, it decided to sell off 1,900 tax delinquent Northport lots in a public auction. 45% of the money went to the county. 55% of the money went to Northport. The auction brought in $60 million, okay, and added lots back to the tax rolls, which brought us another $281,000. This $60 million, okay, if you look at a lot of the programs which we've done since then, this money definitely helped Northport. A huge positive resource that they could use to go forth for some programs that they deeply wanted to go to. Another thing that happened that year, huge, Northport City Hall, our present one, on City Center Boulevard, and that in Northport opens up in 2006. Our City Hall, luckily, the people who structured it did not just provide for the absolute needs in 2006, but provided additional space for the future. There are rooms in City Hall which still are not being occupied, okay? So we can still grow into it, which is great because we needed a place. We did not have a place. We certainly outgrew our first place, which was on Biscayne Plaza, and our second place, which was on Northport Boulevard. And now we have a beautiful City Hall. And once again, if we said it before, if you don't go in there and look at the decorations that are there for Christmas, around the fall and all of this stuff, oh, you're missing it, because our Northport City Hall, besides being a center for government, and we encourage you to go to the City Hall meetings and that, because they're now back opened up after the COVID restrictions, we really encourage you to do that. Narramore Complex is started behind Glen Allen. 7508 Glen Allen Boulevard in 2006, additional space for soccer. Soccer went from Ziggy Persamersing, putting people in the back of his truck, building the goals and doing it at La Brea, which is an awful small park, to a humongous organization with 50-some teams. And Narramore Park certainly added to our capacity to have soccer. So a huge complex would certainly help. All you have to do is go around there so many times of the evening or Saturday and see the massive cars trying to find parking spots. We still need more of those there. But that is a huge parking area. And I'd have to say that a good percentage of our Northport youth are in soccer. Once upon a time when my kids were little, there was no such thing as soccer. You were either in baseball or you weren't in any sports. There wasn't football, there wasn't soccer, but now we have huge soccer fields and so many soccer teams. And thank all the coaches who do everything for free out of the kindness of their heart. People don't realize how much time goes into this. Just like Marie, all the time you and everyone else puts into WKDW, all volunteer hours, and people don't realize, the amount of hours that people volunteer around here to do something. And truly, every time you see these people doing these things, you should thank them over and over again. Another thing that opened up, because we said the last time, bingo, we were not supposed to get any schools in here to possibly 2010, but we got the high school just before the turn of the century. And then we got other schools, Cranberry in 2003. And now, guess what? We got Lamarck. Lamarck School opened up in 2006. Lamarck School opened up. Lamarck School was immediately crowded. Lamarck School immediately needed additional areas to store kids because we didn't have enough. So it came with the portable classrooms almost immediately. Northport population was indeed growing, and we are now, of course, as you know, the biggest city. Northport Leadership Group started. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because this part of this group and the Vision Northport and that is not around. But just like a lot of things in life, their ideas are. The ideas for more diversity in Northport, public and private sectors working together, a city center, a downtown area, and rapidly growing areas in Northport came from Vision Northport. These meetings they weren't funded. Like if they were, things would have been different around here. But on the other hand, some of the ideas that they came up with, Gulf Coast recognized some of the leadership programs, and we started Northport leadership programs and developed initiatives which have gone on. And many times, like with political parties, with the minor political parties that never made it, but some of their ideas went through. Okay, and some of the initiatives that this group tried to do actually went through. In 2006, we also had another change. What used to be called the Yacht Club in Northport, which was located on Chancellor 7050 Chancellor Boulevard, became AMVETS. And veterans in Northport, God bless you all. Thank you all for your service. And AMVET Post 312 opened up, and that was the Yacht Club, which was a great place for a lot of our senior citizens. They had their square dancing and they had their bingo. We had a lot of events there, and that became AMVETS, and it's been working as AMVETS since then. And they have a number of programs there. In July 15th, 2006, we had the dedication to Michelle Renee Haysham of the Northport Police Department, which opened up. We've talked about Michelle before. I could talk about Michelle forever. She was phenomenal. She was wonderful. She was our first woman police officer. We dearly wanted her. Some of the established people in Northport did not want to see a woman cop, and I'm going, come on, we need it. We need it desperately. But anyway, the police department was named after her, and you can see the plaque right on the front wall of the police department. And she served great. She did gymnastics, trimnastics for free in the pool. She did a lot of things. She worked with scout groups. Just a marvelous, marvelous girl. Sadly assassinated by her husband, who committed suicide later on River Road. 2007, as we were saying, was the largest city. Well,
wait, Joan, let's go back to 2006. You missed something.
What's that?
Terry Lewis becomes the chief of police from 2006 to 2011.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't going to mention them all, but Terry is special. And yeah, I love Terry. He was great. And he later on served as our city manager for a while before Jonathan Lewis came in. And he was here during the Denise Amber Lee sad that situation in that murder case. And he was a great man. Okay. And here's another thing about him. This is not on the road. This man's had a cancer. He got over it. But on the other hand, he certainly did not let that keep him down from doing what he wanted to do. He certainly was my friend, and I really appreciated him. And he loved the pool. He really pushed for the pool. His lunch hour, okay, instead of sitting around and all this kind of stuff, he was over at the pool doing his laps, okay, because physical fitness was very important to Terry. Okay, anything else we've missed in 2000?
Yeah, I want to go back to the Northport Leadership class, because I'm actually part of the Gulf Coast Leadership Institute class. And I want people to understand that the first Northport Leadership class actually was funded by the Gulf Coast Community Foundation Leadership Development. And what they ended up doing, the Gulf Coast Leadership Community Foundation, they turned that into the Gulf Coast Leadership Institute, where they take 25 people from the area, from Bradenton all the way down to Charlotte County, over to Boca Grande, and I don't know if they pick up people from Arcadia area. But then you get chosen, you have to actually submit, and they pay for you to go through this leadership program. And I've been very fortunate that I was one of the people that was chosen for that class. And they took that Northport Leadership original class, and they turned that into the Gulf Coast Leadership Institute. And they actually train you in the Myers-Briggs way that you learn what your leadership style is, contrary to a lot of the leadership programs out there where you get to know your community. This is learning your leadership style and learning and networking with people that you may not have met before, because it's from the whole area. It's not just from your community. And I just wanted to mention that because of that first Northport Leadership class, that's where the Gulf Coast Leadership Institute came from.
Yeah, it came from, and a lot of the ideas, Peter Bottalotta was certainly involved in a lot of the beginning in that, and we had meetings, and a lot of the meetings were over at South Biscayne Church. Okay. And I'll tell you what, they brought out a lot of people and a lot of ideas. And as I say, even though some of it wasn't funded, so therefore some, came on different ways and it developed into different areas, but still the ideas of getting people together. And I can remember sitting there with so many people and the ideas that we came up with and the concepts and the vision they had for Northport was incredible. So I'm so glad you brought that up because I figured kind of like was a little old to be in there, but I tell you what, I'm very thankful for those that have done it and continue to do it. And we truly have had a number of classes graduate from that, and remarkable ideas. And they are the ones, they're the ones that are going to have to take up the gauntlet and move forward and really keep Northport on top of everything that's happening, because truly, if not, we're done for, because we really need their expertise. We need them to be on top of things, and we need them to care, and then we need them to have the most up-to-date ideas.
Right. And the leadership styles are essential because not everybody has the same leadership style, and you have to learn how to work with other leaders and come to consensuses and come up with ideas. And enough about this, I guess. We can move on because Joan and I take like a whole hour to go over 2 years.
It's easier to just relive them than to go over them.
Oh, right. To really do that. And I've been fortunate. When I was saying Gulf Coast Leadership Institute, I've done many leadership classes or groups over the year. I can say honestly, that's the best one I've ever done in my life.
That is a testimonial, and that's so good to hear. And encourage people to become part of that program in the future. It's great.
Absolutely. And the Gulf Coast Community Foundation does so much for the whole area. They're out of Venice, but they take care of the area. They don't just stay in Venice. They take care of a lot of the things in the communities.
If someone wants to become part of the leadership program for one of the future ones, how would they go about it? Go to the Gulf Coast Foundation and check out their places?
Website. Yeah, look at their website. It normally doesn't come out till like March in the year, and then they start. And I don't know with COVID how it's affected it, but they normally would start like in June that you're doing it, but you have to go through the application process because they have to vet all the applicants that they get. And believe you, they get a lot of applicants, and I don't know what stood out in my application for it, but they do pay for it, and it's actually well worth it. It is well worth you going through that program.
Isn't it great that we have a lot of people applying for that? That just says that people care, and that's wonderful.
Absolutely. And when you're looking around, Joan, with the fast growth, and I know that I'm getting off the subject here right now, but it is part of the subject. Northport is growing so rapidly. And if we don't take a look as a community, and I want to be clear to people, I live in Port Charlotte, but I'm vested in Northport because of being part of the community in a lot of different ways. I'm on several boards up there. I want to take a minute to say to the people that are listening, you have the opportunity right now to shape how you want to see the future of Northport. You need to be involved. What do you need to do? I don't, because you hear from people, well, I don't know how to do that. You get your seat at the table, the one that makes the decisions on things. And how do you do that? Well, there are committees within the city that you can get on that actually look at that. Run for office. Bless those people that do, because I'm not that type of person that, I don't pick my battles there, but I am the chair for the Murdoch Village CRA. And when you see West Villages, they're being built in South County, in North County of Charlotte County. I'm on that committee that oversees what's happening there. So What would you say to people, Joan? Because
Oh,
you've been
we have
with
to.
people.
Okay, just take our motto, which we'll be getting to because that's a little later on in the thing. Achieve anything. That to me, because I was on that committee and that was something I pushed very heavily for. Achieve anything. You can still make Northport your place. The statues aren't all built, okay? It is not in cement. You can change it, you can mold it. It doesn't have to deal with that you come in here with millions of dollars. No, you come in here with an idea, you come in here with a thought, you come in here with a vision, and you can make Northport a different community. I always told people, and I think I've said this before on your show, you go to New York City, okay? Unless you have $20 million or $20 billion, tell me who's going to listen to you and what you're going to change. In Northport, it doesn't take money to make a difference. It takes desire. It takes ability. Go to City Hall. Go to the city clerk's office. Call Northport 941-426-8484. Number 6 on the dial is the city clerk's office. Ask him for the list of committees that you can be on, and be on the things that are your passion. Be it the art board, landscaping, history board, parks and recreation, economic development, roads and drainage, which we certainly could use better of, and or whatever. Okay, there are so many boards. Every single one of them just about has an opening. Has an opening, wants people, cares about people. It's all volunteer. No one ever gets paid for it. But you will see Northport from a different angle. You know, not everyone wants to be on the zoning and the board and all this kind of stuff, but but they're needed. Absolutely needed. You need the right people there. So definitely Northport, achieve anything. You can make Northport your city. And if there's anybody who can say that, it's me. Because guess what? I didn't have the $1,000,000 when I came here. Okay. And we've done things which we knew were right, and we pushed for them, and we cared passionately for them and pushed it forth. And thank God we have so many other people like yourself pushing things, and you don't even live here. To me, Northport does not end at the border. There is so much communication. There's so much connection between Port Charlotte and Northport, between Englewood and Northport. Remember, right now in the Northport schools, I have former students that I taught in Englewood because that was the only school you could go to then for high school. And they are teaching in every single one of our Northport schools. They have been school administrators, okay, and they have been teachers, and they have been facilitators, and they're active parents, and they're, former students are now coaching little league teams. And if you don't think, whatever you want to be, you want to change a kid's life, you're not going to always do that by being the elected leader. You be out there as his coach, okay? You be out there with that kid, and you can change a life. And those kids need life changers. It doesn't matter where your passion is or what time you have. Be there. Big brothers, big sisters. I mean, you name the groups. Kiwanis. Look at all that Kiwanis is doing for Northport. Do the Right Thing just came about, and all of this stuff. There are so many thousands of programs where no one's sitting there writing in the papers, we have so many volunteers, please don't volunteer anymore. Okay, we're all desperate for volunteers, and you can make things happen. There are so many things so needed in Northport yet. We don't have a movie theater. For God's sake, we don't even have a cemetery. We don't have an airport. We don't have a bowling alley. There are a roller skating rink. Just places to walk, and whatever your passion is, we need you.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about that, when you were talking about city centers and that, we did a show. I have another show, Kaleidoscope of the Arts, that I did with Dee Dee Gozian from the Arts Center. And we did an interview at the Welland Park Welcome Center because they have the Northport artwork there, and they change it out. And one of their artists is painting the mural there, which I think is done now or is getting completed this week. anyhow, when we're looking there, we did the interview because they're building a city center, which is when people drive by up on US 41 by the Atlanta Braves Stadium. That great big hole in the ground is going to be a huge lake with a 3 mile walk around path. They're building a town center, they're building a city center. They're starting the work next month. It'll be open in the fourth quarter of next year. And they're building things there so we don't have to leave the city of Northport to have events. There's not one place in the city of Northport you can hold an event that you can serve alcohol, that alcohol can be served at. And I have to make that clear because there's the schools and the city centers and that you can go there. However, for more upscale things, if you want to have an upscale thing, and we're having something January 15th to elevate the arts, we have to have it at the plantations in South Venice because there's no place in Northport to hold these things. There will be at the city center. They are building a town hall, and they're also having restaurants large enough to have events like that. So just, I know there's been a lot of controversy there about the West Villages up there in Welland Park and all that area. But believe you, when I say to the people out there, there's a few people that we're trying to annex, but it's not the whole group. And Welland Park people want to be part of the city of Northport. They want to be involved with everything there. So do your homework and really find out and get to know the people. That's another thing, to get to know the people. And do the research. People so often today, Joan, will listen to somebody else's opinion and take it as their own, or get vile with what they're saying without really doing the research. Do your homework and don't have people telling you what you should think.
Do we not have that today? It's unbelievable. We have such opportunities. Look at how Northport's growing. Look at our possibilities. Look that we're the #1 city on so many lists, or the top 10. Look at Westport. Westport just had its first occupant, 2 days ago? And they're saying by the end of this year, they're going to have 50. Look at that area that's growing down there. Then go up to Welland Park and look at that. And yes, there's a few people that are trying to mold others, destroy their ability to think for themselves. Okay. And I mean, I'm sorry, but this is what we have going on here. Just think for yourself. Just look at, and I think actually the vaccinations is a good example of that. Okay. Hey, we all had polio. We all had MMR vaccinations, or we didn't make it to school. Tell me what the difference is. The difference is between we might be safe and not safe, but let me not get into that. But it's just some people trying to manipulate other people's ability. Think for yourself. Look at Welland Park. Look at the people. Look at the few, and look at what we give to Welland Park from Northport, and look at what Welland Park's going to give us. We have a very tight commitment and a very bright future together. We don't need to see that whole place up there end construction, sit there stagnated for years while we fight it out in litigation. Okay. When we have such a beautiful opportunity to all work and move forward, just like Westport. God help us. Let's not get into any controversy there. Again, look at how many years it took for that Murdoch project.
Well, right. And I apologize because I said West Villages, and that's up in Northport. Westport is the Murdoch Village area.
Yes.
And I've been a part of that. And
right.
I got my foot in the game because we own property. Our business was in that area. And in case anybody doesn't know, the county took it by eminent domain, not our property, because we were commercial, and they had to pay to purchase to take over something in eminent domain with commercial. They had to pay you 2.5 times of what you got in revenue besides your property. So they kind of priced themselves out of it. So they couldn't take over that commercial property like they had hoped to. However, that whole area is going to be developed. You see the Westport right now? Well, Ardondo's Point with a new water theme park, that'll be coming, and I have a meeting next Monday that will be discussing and having everything presented to that, and that's open to the public. In case anybody wants to know, you can come to any of those meetings, just like with the ones that you sit on, Joan, with the city. Yeah, anybody's welcome to come there.
Absolutely. We want people to come. We want them to know this is not a secret what we're doing.
So, and I know that we got off. So,
yeah,
well,
but you know what? This is all important stuff, because I'll tell you what, people, history is going to be stagnated if we don't have people looking into Westport. It's going to be stagnated if we don't have people looking into Welland Park, because Northport is going to be bigger than our own 113 miles acreage. It is this all expansive area, and we need each other, and we're working together. And Englewood is a very good example, because once upon a time, Englewood is what Northport became, and now Englewood's gotten bigger, and now we're getting bigger. But a lot of the learning lessons that I saw in Englewood in the 70s and the 80s, and especially with the people, with the kids wanting to be as far away from that area as possible. When I get out of school, I'm getting out of this dump, I'm moving out of here, to taking it over and now being the Englewood of the present. The same thing has happened in Northport. We now have the third and fourth generation of families that really have made their roots here. And some of them have moved out of town and then moved back in because they realized, guess what? It was a better place to be. So yeah, we have so much here. And you know what we don't have? I don't even want to say it because it scares me, the fact that we might get it. We don't have some of the chaos, tragedy, nightly violence, and everything else that they do in other areas. So please be thankful that you can still go out to the Myakkahatchee Environmental Park and take a walk and see nature, and maybe even see a panther. We saw one out there, okay? And that there's places to go in Northport. Okay. And look at the opportunities that are going to be there. Look at all the jobs that are going to be created by just the building that's going to be going on. All right. And we're going to have sun seekers. They're going to start back up again. So we're told. Look at how many jobs that's going to create.
They're supposed to start up in September, I believe.
Right. Look at all the jobs they're going to create.
And Sun Country, in case anybody doesn't know out there, Allegiant Airlines flies into the Punta Gorda. Sun Country is starting in October. They were originally starting in December. They moved up the timeline to October because I'm originally from Minnesota, where Sun Country is out of. And I'm going, I can fly out of Punta Gorda to buy my sons in Minnesota, or I can go to the Twin Cities now, right from our Punta Gorda airport. I would have never thought I would have been able to do that before, ever. Yeah. And because I've always had to go to Fort Myers, Sarasota, or Tampa to, get to those locations. There is such great opportunity here. And I said to my husband the other day, I said, I wish I was younger, because it would have been I would have wanted to be part of this growth, because I've been here since 87 and I've seen it grow, but now it's growing. This is going extremely large from what, Joan, you and I have seen over the years. I'm going, it is just light speed ahead. And just for another thing for everybody to know, the Department of Transportation is doing a survey down 776 because they're looking at making that a 3-laner on each side. So that'd be 6 lanes, because of if we have hurricanes or anything, evacuations. And because if you've ever been on 776 recently, it's a busy highway now. It's getting really busy going over to Englewood and coming that way. And to just get to the ballparks and that, look at the Atlanta Braves, and we have the Tampa Bay Rays that come into Charlotte County. And then we have the winter, what do they call that? The Snowbird League that comes into here for baseball here in Charlotte County. But there are so many opportunities for growth for everybody. And if you want to have your foot in the game, there's many ways that you can do it. And if you don't know how, reach out to Joan or myself. We can actually put you in touch with the right people.
Hey, I'll tell you what, once upon a time, Punta Gorda Airport really intrigues me because once upon a time in the early 70s, we knew the family, the Carr family, that were really instrumental in starting that airport. And here they were, just small people. Ed used to use some of the hangars in the airport to put together floats for Charlotte High School for homecoming and things like that. They used to go there and have a hangar and do their little float, and so no other club could see them doing it and all this stuff. It was such a small little place. And now, just last week, you're talking about the place going to your son. I just found out one of my best friends from going back to middle school, lives in Springfield, Missouri. They just put on a route between here and Springfield for $49. I can go up and see her, shoot the breeze and come back home for another $49. I mean, what the heck? This is phenomenal.
Really is. It really is. And Air Trek, you're talking about the cars. They own Air Trek, and they do mobile ambulatory flying planes from place to place in case anybody has to take a loved one someplace to another hospital or that, instead of using helicopters, or if they're taking them up north. Just doing a shout out to Dana Carr and his
family. Achieve anything. That's our area.
Yeah.
I love what we have, and we're close enough to the center of sports, to the Rays, to the Lightning, who's going to win the Stanley Cup again one of these nights. To Bucks football. I mean, we're so close to all this stuff, and I-75 and all this stuff. We have needed the extensions coming out of Englewood and all that stuff for a long, long time. And the Braves Stadium and all is just kind of like accentuating the point that we better have. And certainly with hurricanes, and that I would have hated to be for the last 3 decades in parts of Englewood and have a hurricane upon us. I mean, truly, it has not been easy to get people evacuated from some of those areas. So things are happening. It's not going to happen overnight. God bless us. We're all going to go through hell getting River Road to what it's supposed to be. I mean, that is not going to be a pretty situation, but eventually it's going to be 6 lanes, up into center, right? That's what they're saying. And it's going to be magnificent, but heaven help us all as they build that. So we are definitely, we're definitely the child or the teenager. We're not a grown city. We're not the big adults. We're not the old city. We're kind of like eager teenagers building. There's so much yet to be done. We can make a difference. Open up your eyes, open up your ears, get to City Hall, get on these boards and everything else. Or as Marie's saying, going to these meetings. I mean, you can go to a meeting every single night and they're very well worthwhile. And you get there and you go, oh my gosh, everyone should be here, but and we've already done one whole year.
Did we do the whole year?
We're up to 2007, and that's a good one because the U.S. Census report 54,308 residents, which makes us the largest city in the county. People don't even realize Northport is the #1 city in population and size. They still think Venice, or they still think Upper Sarasota, which wants to claim that we are just, kind of like the southern end yet. But we are the leaders. They didn't even want to put us at the end of all of these. They wanted Sarasota first. Northport is #1. When I came here, there were 1,200 people. In 2007, there's 54,308. And now we are going to be to 100,000. We're going to be to 100,000 before we finish this series. The way we're going.
Yeah, you're right. We will. That'll be funny. Yeah, we can change that. The amount of people that live here, right? Yeah.
When all of these areas where you see this, and I don't want to get into this, but it makes me sick to see this clear cut and see all these areas. I mean, I don't even want to get into that now, because that makes me sick to my stomach. But on the other hand, when you see and you can envision what's going to be there, it's just going to be unbelievable. The number of people that are going to be here is just incredible, and it's going to happen so quickly.
And when you're talking about clear cut, one of the things that Welland Park did, I know it was clear cut, but they preserved, I think, 11 of the giant oak trees at a very huge expanse.
Mhm.
Inside their welcome center, they have a art piece that represents an oak tree, but they actually preserve them and they'll be planted and re-put in those areas that they were removed from in that area around there. And they are these magnificent oak trees that they salvaged. They felt that it was the responsibility of them to salvage these trees, not to be, you know, destroying that beauty in that. And so, be it that they needed that space in the middle, but they were able to salvage the trees that
Yeah,
were
there
there.
should be a lot more. Thank them for doing that. But I tell you what, it really is sad. And when you see areas, when you see the beauty of trees, of course, now after a day after a storm and you see trees down, you might not be too happy at some trees if they hit your house last night. But on the other hand, I mean, trees are just, they're so important. I mean, Alice White should be on it, God bless her, and all that she does, and all the people for trees and everything else go. But anyway, let's move on to at least get 2 years in.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
Go for it.
Lamarck started the run for the Lions, and this was important, and this was in January 13th, 2007, because it wasn't just a school doing it, it was the first school doing it. And then we've had Cranberry doing it, you know, in Northport, except for the one that the city put on, the firecracker, you didn't have any 5Ks. You didn't have, the running community was not involved with Northport. I mean, there was no such a thing. It was really not involved. Then comes Lamarck, and all of a sudden, wow, the running community is coming to Northport. And now we have the firecracker just on the 4th of July. We have Rock, Roll, and Run in January. We have Remember the Fallen, definitely a big part of our community now celebrating and remembering 9/11. You have Cranberry has had 5K runs. You have Fusion Soccer has had runs. I mean, they're all over the place. You know, it's just the start. And they did it because Lamarck realized, guess what? The school board has provided a lot. The school board has not provided anything. And here again, the people wanted more for their kids at that school. So guess what? We have to make the money. And that's what they did. And Northport, New Hope Church was the one who came up with that idea. Eddie DeJesus from New Hope Church is the one. I remember the day he told us we were going to head that race, and I'm going, oh no. But it was phenomenal, and it was a great race. Okay, we also had the City Economic Development Strategic Plan was adopted. All of these things are major steps. Okay, little cities don't have this stuff. Little communities with a few thousand people walking around, running around, building a few houses don't have this. Economic development, these are things we need a plan. You just don't let it happen. Okay, you can let it happen when you're a very, very small community. But when you're getting to be Northport, it's time to actually strategize where we put things and how we do things. Another firehouse opens, Firehouse 85 at the end of West Price Boulevard. These are needed. Another thing that happened, and this was a surprise to all of us, there was this woman that none of us knew named Helen Haddon. No one knew her, okay? And she left. She was, I believe, a school teacher. God bless her. Okay. And she left $1.5 million funds for people. And basically, it would have been in Northport. But remember, we did not have a foundation or anything at that time. So it went through the Gulf Coast Foundation. And a number of these funds have come back to Northport and have been used in Northport projects. But here again, here's this woman who lived by herself that very few people knew. She didn't go to City Hall and scream, hey, I'm Helen, I got $1 million and I'm going to do things for you very, very quietly. But guess what she did for Northport? Okay. Next, we had September 8th, 2007, and the Arts Center. And the last show, Marie went off and said a lot about the Art Center. Is there anything else you would like to put here about the Art Center on San Chapos Way?
Well, just for people to know that they've outgrown their space there, they have like 5 years to relocate, and we will be trying to do fundraising and to raise up so we can relocate. What Joan's talking about right now is September 8th, 2007. After many attempts over the past 6 years before that, the Northport Art Guild, and it still really is the 501c3 is our art guild, was given the opportunity to lease the former city planning and zoning building for $1 a year, and I think they pay $1 a month right now. And when that happened, they were able to have the Northport Art Center. That's how that became, and how they develop youth classes and all. Well, now we've outgrown that, and I sit on that board of directors now, and I'm helping do a fundraiser and helping elevate the arts within the city of Northport. And for a lot of people to, they may not realize, but when people relocate to an area, they look what is there in your area to do. And one of the things is art. And when you look along the Gulf Coast from Tampa all the way down to Naples, if you look, most communities have a real strong art community. And in the city of Northport, it has some, but it's all run pretty much by volunteers. A few of the people at the art center are paid, but very few. It's run by mainly volunteers. And you have to listen to our last show. But when we're talking about this, I just want people to realize why we're doing this, because when the city is growing so rapidly, we want to have that part of it to grow with it. So let's move on.
Yep. And as I said before, and this is one of the things I really wanted, I wanted to see that area below city center, which is now going to be some other things, not be a gas station, a Waffle House, nothing against them, but that's where I wanted to see walkways, gazebos, the art center, maybe auditorium, things for Northport and all the people of Northport. Because one of the things we've talked about often, and Marie hit on it again today, we don't have, and we haven't had enough places for people to meet, to have groups meet. We have a few more than we used to have, but truly there's very few places, and there's nothing that unites people more than art. Okay. And I know some relatives of my husband, they're going to move down here, and guess what? She loves to do watercolors. And let me tell you something, she's checking out everything that art center does and all this stuff. And she's going to be down there, and she's going to be part of that art center when she moves here someday from New York City. And right now I'd say get out of New York City.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the way it goes. So that art is important, and I wish I was better at it.
Well,
Okay.
me too. Well, one last thing too. The Northport Art Center just received 5 awards as being the best of the area, and they beat out, just for people to realize, they beat out as being the best visual arts center over the Visual Arts in Punta Gorda, the one up in Venice, the one over in Englewood. And the thing is those other places they've been around for about 100, well, not 100 years, but they've been around for at least 50 years or so, or 60 years. And here, the little old Northport Art Center has only been around since 2007. So just saying, they're doing as much as they possibly can with what they do have. So,
Right.
okay, let's move on so we can get through.
Okay, next on our list is, and here's another sore point for many, and here's something that really we need so many people to help with. Memorial Hospital Board of Trustees and establishing, we had the groundbreaking February 2008 for the first emergency room, which is on Toledo Blade Boulevard. We need a hospital. We are the only city of our caliber, of our size, of our density that doesn't have a hospital. We had Frank Menke, who was the first organizer of Walmart around here, push for it. We've had many, the Chamber of Commerce, meeting after meeting and things after things. However, we still don't have the hospital that we need. It is going to take everyone. I don't know exactly how we do it, but let me tell you something. When you're talking about things to do, when you're talking about make a difference, when you talk about achieve anything, we need that group of people, those people dedicated, devoted to, and we need somebody who can break through everything and finally get Northport a hospital. There's nothing more you can say about that. We've all tried. We've all sat through meetings, right? We've all been frustrated. We all thought we were going ahead, and we find we're 5 steps behind. But let me tell you something. There will be a hospital in Northport, and I hope it's here when I need it. You know, luckily we at least have, the emergency room, but that doesn't take care of everything. That is not the end all. That is not the end all. And we absolutely need it for our population, for our size. So this is something that we just have to work on. Talk about where your future work is, guys. Get out there and help us get a hospital. Okay. Again, 2007, November 26th, the shoot off from the first graduates for the Vision Northport leadership that we talked about before. They were dedicated to really encouraging the spread of the word to Northport residents, what we need, encourage people to be there, to set up committees. The Northport ambassador ship was organized, and all of these things that we talked about before, and truly is needed. Here again, another place to start working, another place to help. Northport leadership wanted to, the concept of canoe and kayak races. This is something once upon a time, we've had these waterways, the 81 miles to 90 miles of waterways. We didn't just create them. In fact, they were all created a long time ago because you can't build new canals now. Okay, but on the other hand, the utilization of them, the understanding of them, the connecting of them, the clearing some out so you can go from one area to the other, to building the docks, to realizing the potential of them. We needed people who cared about this. None of this was done because no one cared. Okay, all of these programs and that took some people really very frustrated inside their house wanting to make something good happen. So basically, we need to encourage people yet, and these are all good things that happen. Anything you want to add to that, Marie?
No, I just want to encourage people to make sure that if you can sit behind the lines and complain about things not happening, well, somebody has to make it happen. Why not it be you? Why not, if you have ideas, come to the table and actually make them happen. And I've been a leader in a lot of things within our community, my community here that I live in and up in Northport. And I always say to people, if you have an idea, come to the table with the idea and then figure out how you're going to execute it. Because you can come to the table with things, but we can figure it out. But I like people coming to the table and then say, this is how I would do it. And then that's where the conversation starts getting going.
Oh, right. Hey, they come up with an idea from someplace else we never thought of. And it's like, oh my gosh, this would work. Hey, thinking of places to go. 2 things before we end up, because we actually made it 2 whole years. It took 2 whole years today. Okay, a couple of things. Number 1, you want a meeting tomorrow night? Okay, July 8th, City Hall, 244, 6 o'clock, the Historic Board. Come, okay? And you're going to see the new Envision Northport, the new video that we're going to put up for the 2021 for the Centennial for Sarasota County. Okay, number 2, this program, these facts we've put down for Northport dates, it is not complete by any means. Please call me, 941-875-8996, or send me email, emjm67@yahoo.com. Tell me things that we don't know. Tell me what we haven't put in. Tell me what we need to add. We do not have it all. There's no way we can, but we need your help. And what Marie and I have done in going through whole 2 years, but on the other hand, what we're saying is this is your Northport. Achieve anything. You can make it yours. Not just making it yours, you can make us better. Okay? You can give us things that'll help your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, neighbors, whatever. There's a lot of people on the Parks and Recreation Board. The only thing they want is another canine park. Well, let's go get one. Okay? All right? There's a lot of things. There's a lot of people with a lot of different things. You might be the art center. You might be the canine park. You might want the cemetery. You might want the bowling alley or another football league. And that we need volunteers. We're only as good as you make us.
Right, absolutely. Well, we'd like to thank our audience for listening to us today. Joan and I do go off on tangents, and this is Marie LaBrosse from Sleuthing Eye-Opening Tales of the Past on WKDW 97.5 FM, real community radio out of your city of Northport, Florida. Thank you so much, Bishop West Real Estate, for actually paying for the tower that we broadcast from, and to Joan Morgan, my co-host. I call you my co-host, with a history of the city of Northport and the timeline here. Thank you all. And remember, one act of kindness can change somebody's life. Please be kind out there. Thank you and have a great day. See you next week on Sleuthing Eye-Opening Tales of the Past. I do too many shows. Okay, bye-bye.
Hey, we made it.